Okay, I'm back. So she had to go to the hospital the day she was born to get all her bloods tested to check that she didn't have the antigen. And she didn't have the antigen, which was great. No signs of jaundice or anything like that. No anemia in her. All her levels were good. Her vitamin D, her blood sugar, everything was perfect, which was so great. But I remember sitting in the neonates, and I was watching her, and they had her in sort of a humidity crib to make sure she was able to keep her temperature up. And even just looking at her, I would get the most insane cramps. And I was sitting there like breathing through them. And they really did feel as intense as, I'd say, about 4 centimeters dilated during labor. But they wouldn't only last a minute. Like my regular contractions are about a minute, and these ones would just sort of linger, and but they were much more sporadic. So they came like maybe twice an hour, and that was for 3 days, and the after pains were pretty intense. I didn't end up taking anything for them, but I just sort of breathed through it. I was hesitant to let Poet nurse too much during the first few days because that really brought the after pains on. And I know that the after pains are about like bringing your uterus back in again. So I knew it was supposed to be feeling that way, but it still wasn't pleasant. What else can we say about the first week? Well, Mark had to leave 6 days postpartum. So he went back to America. He's shooting a film there. He's had this really amazing opportunity. And so we knew that would happen. Luckily, Bubby came a week before her due date, which I wasn't sure. It was sort of touch and go. I felt like it was going to happen. And then I was like, oh, I don't think it is. And then when it happened, I was like, oh my God, thank goodness. Because I knew that Mark was going to be leaving a few days after she was born. But he did get to have 6 days with her, which was just lovely. And to turn around and just watch him holding her and looking at her, bless you, was just so beautiful. And they really bonded, and she responds to his voice. Even when we FaceTime, I can see that she's responding to him. The kids, let's talk about the kids for a second. Oh my goodness, the transition has gone so much smoother than I ever expected. I guess my biggest worry was Poet, how she would feel no longer being the baby of the family, how she would feel having another girl. And she has just been a little mummy, constantly kissing my baby. She wants to cuddle her. She wants to hold her. She runs to get me nappies. If it's nappy change, she runs to get me burp cloths. She wants to pick the clothes out. She talks to her, she sings to her. She's just has been absolutely beautiful. And Mark and I can see how Prairie's arrival has really triggered something in Poet, in that she's just sort of grown up. And I think, of course, she seems more grown up because she's not so tiny anymore, and compared to Prairie, she seems so much bigger. But also emotionally, I don't know, it's like she's sort of landed in her body a little bit more since Prairie came along, and she just seems older. Even her speech and the way she's talking and her feelings and the way she can process things, and she's just wants to be mummy's little helper. Look, you want more boobs. You want more boobs. She's sticking her little tongue out. You ready? You ready for some? So anyway, here we go. Yeah, and also in terms of the nursing, I used to, with my first baby on the app, be like, left breast, 5 minutes, right breast, 10 minutes. But now I just pop her on. I feel which boob is heavier, and the heavier one is the one she goes on, and then she just nurses sort of for as long as she wants, or I'll pop her off and give her a burp and see if she wants to go back on again. And I love watching her eyes sort of adjust and look at me. And I notice that she really responds to my voice as well. She doesn't like the car seat. The car seat is not something she likes. But luckily she's still so young that she's sleeping in the car most of the time. But I've definitely had to do a few pullovers. Tonight I did a pullover on the side of the road and felt that she was wet. We're using cloth nappies, but some of them are a smaller fit than others. So I felt that she was wet and I was like, all right, I'm going to just do a makeshift change in the front seat here. I had all 3 kids in the back plus her. And I had just picked up pizza. So I gave everyone pizza. Everyone was eating. And I just sat in the car and I nursed her and I changed her. And we were just on the side of the road. I put a podcast on so the kids were listening to a podcast. And it's just those little moments like that where you're like, well, this is not ideal. I don't want to be changing her in the car and it's freezing outside. But she wants to nurse. So I'm not going to have her crying in the car seat for 30 minutes while we drive home. So it's just I think that I've really taken the stress out of it. It is what it is. It's chaotic. I've got 4 kids on my own. I'm doing school pickups. I'm doing drop-offs. I'm making costumes. I'm zipping all over Adelaide, doing extracurricular activities, and the kids have guitar and football and dancing and hip-hop music and all the different things that they're doing. And without sort of my partner in crime here, that means that I am doing all those drop-offs myself. And so Prairie does spend a lot of time in the car. So it just means making sure that she's set up for the ride. So really giving her a big feed before we get in, wrapping her up really warmly in a blanket, putting her in the car seat. And then I also have to say the car seat that I have is the Doona, which I love. I have no affiliation with them at all. I just love the car seat because she falls asleep in the car. And then when you pull the Doona out, it turns into a pram. So it's not like having to pick up the bassinet and then get the pram from out of the boot and then click the bassinet or the car seat into the pram. It's just all in one. So that's been really helpful. I think it's a total game changer. So that's my favorite car seat. She doesn't fit into any of her newborn clothes. She's too small, although the big bulky cloth nappies do help. But she's just sort of swimming and everything. What else can I tell you? Forrest has just been absolutely delightful and gorgeous. I think the first sort of few days he would come and kiss her but go do his own thing. But in the last 4 days, I would say he's shown so much more interest in her. Before it was oh yeah, Prairie's here. Anyway, back to my Lego or back to my magnetiles. But now it's Prairie, 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 kissing constantly. He wants to walk, push the pram himself. So are you okay? Did you have a little cough? No, it's still on there. She's so funny. Even if she coughs or gets too much milk, she won't unlatch. She's just nope, I'm good. You have glitter all in your hair. That's what happens when you're number 4. That's what happens. All the art projects. And then, so Forrest is just in love with her. And then Bodhi, oh my goodness. He constantly is picking her up, cuddling her, snuggling with her. She was crying on the way home just now in the car. And he was like, Prairie, you're not alone. Brother's here. It's Bodhi. Bodhi's here. I'm with you. Sticks his finger in her mouth and she starts sucking on his finger, even though we always say, please wash your hands. But he's just been absolutely gorgeous. And I have to say, that aspect of it has been really beautiful to witness. It's just how she's folded into our family. She's always been here and such a beloved member. Can I take this out now? What do you think? Should we do a burpee? She's definitely a night owl. She Yeah, let me burp you over here. She wants to be, she's probably awake from about 6 o'clock, and constantly just sort of looking around, making noises. And so she doesn't really sleep until about 11 p.m. So she'll go to sleep at like 11. I'll give her a big change. And one thing I'm doing a bit differently this time is Poet had terrible nappy rash when she was about 3 weeks old. And so I'm really trying to prevent that this time round. I'm just assuming that she has really sensitive skin like Poet as well. Oh my goodness, that was a little smile. Oh, with a little tongue sticking out. Oh my goodness. I know it was just gas, but still. I love them. I love seeing your little smiles. Hello, gorgeous. Oh, the oxytocin is running. Gorgy girl. So yeah, she has these like really awake periods as we're winding down to go to sleep. Like I will want to be in bed by 10, but she has a different idea, don't you? She wants to stay awake till about 11. So I don't go to sleep. Poet's sad. Bobby. So I'm not going to sleep until about 11, and then she sleeps until about 2 o'clock, which is actually quite a decent chunk. I don't know why this keeps happening, but that just happened again. I'll be in the middle of a sentence and my phone will just decide to turn off. Anyway, so I nurse her around 2 a.m. and I've got a little salt lamp on here, so that like keeps it quite light in here, so I'm able to nurse her. She usually hasn't done a poo by 2 o'clock, but by the next feed she has, that's around 4:30. So then I'll quickly change her. And what I've been doing to prevent nappy rash is I call it my impenetrable barrier cream, which is zinc. And then I do like a powder, an organic baby powder. So I do the, the brand's called Weleda. So it's Weleda Calendula Zinc. Chuck it on. It's a white cream, and then I put the baby powder, and then I pat the baby powder into the cream, and it's so impenetrable. So she does so many poos in a day, so many wees, and she's just never ever looked red down there or sore. And I just do that every single time just because you know, Poet had such a bad time with her nappy rash because I wasn't doing that. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. I'm just using water and cloth nappies. But ultimately, the amount of time you're wiping them, the amount of times you're wiping them, it's just their skin's going to get irritated and it's going to get broken eventually if you're not being hyper diligent about protecting their little sensitive skin. So I've been using that and that's been going really well. And that's about it. I'm trying to, I've been wearing this, which is called a Tubey Grip. So it keeps your tummy feeling really secure. I decided to wear it because the day after birth, I just felt like I had to hold my stomach in the whole time because it just felt sore and achy. And then my midwife, Julie, gave me a Tubey Grip. And that's just been feeling so much better and just more secure. I even sleep in my Tubey Grip. But my stomach's going sort of back to normal now. It's cool. I can actually see my linea nigra now that my tummy's come back in and it's not stretched out. I can actually see that. I did have one and it is it's decently dark. But yeah, otherwise...
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh my God, my watch does that so randomly. But otherwise, everything's been wonderful. I'm very, very happy. Even without Mark, it's bittersweet that he's not here and he's not able to be folded into all the adventures and things that we're doing. But it's been wonderful. And I have to thank my girlfriends for getting me this thing called the Golden Month, which is a postpartum doula service here in Adelaide. Actually, it's offered all around Australia. And today I had my first session and it was just glorious. And I realized that I haven't cultivated self-care because I haven't been able to. I'm the solo parent to 4 children right now, and they've got so many things that they need to be doing. But today was a day where Carla came from, it's called the Golden Month. Carla came and she ran me a bath with flowers in it. I had a bath. She came in, she was holding the baby for me. I came into my bedroom. She had set up my bedroom. It smelled beautiful. I think she must have had a diffuser going. There was amazingly calm music. She did an acupuncture session for my shoulder. And she did this thing called moksha, which was like a warming herb. She gave me tea. She just mothered the mother. And I have to say, it was so beautiful. And then when she left, I had a really beautiful deep nap. I put Poet to sleep and I slept with Poet, and Prairie was sleeping at the same time. And I was like, this is heaven. And they also do a meal delivery service, so my meals start tomorrow. And it's just beautiful. I'm so grateful to be pampered and nourished and honored in the ways that women should be postpartum. So anyway, that's it from now. That's it from me. I just realized how massive my boobs look on camera. They're huge. They're like triple the size. I don't fit into any of my bras, but I know it's for good reason. But yeah, that's about it. All right, guys, sending love from me and Prairie, and I will see you next week with another update. All right, bye.